Hello, people.
Hello, people.
And welcome to the next episode of
Oh, baby, Bible story with C and T.
And this week we're looking at the story of Esther, from an orphan to a queen. The story of Esther teaches us that we can trust and follow God's plans for us even when we don't know where they may lead us. Young Hadassah was an orphan. Both her mother and father had died. Her cousin Mordecai raised her as his own daughter. They were both Jewish and living in a foreign land because their country had been taken captives many years before. One day, the king of this land sent his wife, Queen Vashti, away because she disobeyed him and wouldn't join him at his party where he wanted to show off her beauty. The king now needed a new queen. Those who worked with him suggested having a beauty contest to help him choose a new queen. Many young girls from across the land were brought to the palace to go through a year of beauty treatment. Hadassah, also called Esther, was one of these, for she was very beautiful. Esther wasn't just beautiful on the outside, she was beautiful in the inside too. She trusted, obeyed, and cared for her guardian, Mordecai. She also listened and took advice from the one who was in authority over the young woman. Everyone seemed to truly like Esther. When she was brought before the king, he liked her too, more than any other woman, and crowned her queen of his country called Persia. One day, while Mordecai was sitting outside the palace, he overheard someone wanting to kill the king. He told Esther, and Esther told the king. This saved the king's life. Later, the king made a man named Haman one of his most powerful officers. The king didn't know that this man was evil. Haman was full of pride and did not like Mordecai, for he would not bow down to him and show respect. Haman made a plan to have Mordecai sentenced to death, along with all the Jewish people in the land. Remember, Esther too was Jewish, but neither the king nor Haman knew this. The king listened to Haman and signed a law setting a day that all Jewish people would be killed. Mordecai was so upset he tore his clothes and cried,
"Someone tell Esther!"
So she sent her servant to find out why Mordecai was upset. He told the servant that Haman had tricked the king and how Esther needed to talk to the king. Esther was afraid because anyone who went to see the king without him inviting them could be killed. Mordecai told her,
"Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for just such a time as this?"
Esther knew she may be killed, but decided to risk her life to save her people. She went to the king, and he was not angry, but invited her in to talk to him. She asked to give a banquet and invite the king and Haman. You see, Esther was not only obedient, beautiful, and kind, she was also wise, very wise. She knew she could not just accuse Haman of evil, but would have to be careful how she revealed this to the king. She knew also that she would need God's help. She was wise in that she asked all the people to fast and pray to God. Esther also fasted and prayed. When it was time for the banquet, Haman came proudly, yet Esther revealed nothing to the king. Instead, she invited them both to another banquet the next day. At the second banquet, Esther told the king how her people's lives were being threatened along with her own, and asked that their lives will be spared. Of course, the king was angry, for he loved Esther. He asked,
"Who would do such a thing?"
Esther pointed to Haman. His plan was falling apart. He had not known the queen was also Jewish. His anger and pride had blinded him. Therefore, he rather than Mordecai would be sentenced to death. The king also made a law allowing the Jewish people to come together and defend themselves, for he could not change the law he had made before. After this, everyone in the land honored the Jewish people, Mordecai, and of course, their queen, Esther. She was a real hero in a real story. For though this may sound like a fairy tale, with a happily ever after, the story of Esther is true.
The end.
Don't forget to come back for more Bible stories every single week. Let your mommy and daddy help you to go to www.activefm.co.za.